Welcome to Where There's a Wills.
There's a play.
My name's Ian, your mid-complexity casual gamer who also solo games.
I am Stacey. I am your non-gamer gamer.
We are back after a week off. We kind of were. Last week was my first week back as a teacher with all the teachers, and this week was my first week back with students. We kind of took a week off because it was just so busy last week, but also we were waiting for our new camera to come in, and it came in. And unfortunately, it does not work real well with an adapter into my MacBook. So we ordered a new laptop, which we kind of needed anyway for some things. And now we're waiting for that to come in. But we didn't want to be like 3 weeks out without doing something on the channel. So we are back with another five and dime of our top publishers, our top companies, our top publishing companies. This one's going to be a little different. Instead of me doing my 10 through 6 and then Stacey coming in for our top fives, we are going to do this in the order that these publishing companies were introduced to us. For me, I did put a little caveat on mine where I had to have played at least 3 distinctly different games from a publishing company. As a mid-complexity gamer, I felt like that was a good number. We've played a lot of different games from a lot of different companies. That means like if I've played 3 games, but one of them was maybe a roll and write version of another game, that wasn't distinctly different. So I kind of made sure that I had played at least 3 distinctly different games from the top 10 because I felt like that was a decent number. And most of them I played 4 or way more than 4 games from the companies. Thought that was a good number to choose for choosing publishing companies games that really work for me.
And for me, I picked games that I just enjoyed. Some nostalgic games, some games that I just like playing because it gives me some good time with Ian. I like different aspects of these games. So, should we just get started?
Yeah, let's get going with the first one. So, some of these will be on both of our lists. Some of them might be an honorable mention on the other ones, and we'll mention that. Like I said, let's get going.
All right. So, my first company that I was first introduced to probably in the 80s is a combination of companies nowadays, I guess it would be.
Yeah.
So, Milton Bradley, Parker Brothers, and Hasbro from the 80s. A lot of nostalgia for me, a lot of camping fun, a lot of family fun. So for me, it's those 3 combinations that now are Hasbro. So I chose Racco from my collection. It's just so nostalgic. It's the start of gaming for most of the people that are gamers nowadays. So without these kinds of games growing up, we wouldn't have the complexity of the games that we have now. I don't think. Anyway.
Yeah, who knows where gaming would be
Who
now
knows?
if this stuff didn't come around way back.
Yeah.
Even before the 80s, but then when we were introduced to them.
Yeah, so people who snub their noses at these kinds of games, without this, they wouldn't have anything to snub their noses at. So just because of the nostalgia of it all, and the family time that I've had and the fun and everything else, I'm gonna go with Hasbro, Milton Brothers, and
Milton Bradley.
Bradley
Parker Brothers.
All of them wrapped into one happy company.
I have to agree with everything Stacey said. This would be an honorable mention on mine. So many great memories playing games with my grandmas, playing games with my brother when we were growing up. So yeah, those games that came back in the 80s, before the 80s, or during the 80s and stuff, that whole conglomerate that now falls under the Hasbro name, definitely an honorable mention for me. I still like playing them. It's still nice to just get those out. You want something really light, it's easy to play, a lot of fun. So good choice.
Thank you. And it's educational. Some of them. This one teaches you how to count.
Yeah, how to put things in order. That's a great one for as a teacher. Yeah. It teaches you to order numbers.
Yeah.
All right.
So then I'm going to just keep it rolling.
Yeah.
Okay. Is a company that I learned about in probably about 2016.
I think,
maybe.
sometime in there. We're not exactly sure.
We were on vacation. We decided we're bored. Let's go buy a game. So we went and bought a game. And there's a lot of variants in this gaming company. So Days of Wonder. This one's my favorite Ticket to Ride to play is the Ticket to Ride Japan. Each city is different. There's different complexity in each of the different city versions, and then there's the country versions as well. So each one has a variety of ways to do it. I even enjoyed the Legacy game. Up to, I don't remember how many.
There were 12 total.
Up to about 8 or 9. I
Yeah.
really enjoyed it. After that, it kind of stressed me out. There was a lot to remember and to do and to figure out. But I enjoyed that for the most part. So,
and it was close at the end between the two of us. Like, it was really close.
I
After
was
12
winning
games.
by a lot for a while.
Early on, she was definitely up big, and then when it started getting a little more complex, that's when I kind of started taking over. But I think even in the Legacy, I think we were like 12 or 24 points. It was like 2 points a game, maybe if that. It was pretty good.
Yeah. So Days of Wonder, check them out if you haven't already. Ticket to Ride. For some of them, the city versions are easier to get to the table at night. The bigger versions, the country versions, are a little bit bigger,
more weekend.
Yeah, more of a weekend game. But there's only one that I really, really don't like, and that doesn't come out very often. No. And that's because I have little hands and I can't hold all of those cards at once. So what is that one called? Sea and Sail?
Oh, it's because it has the rails and sails. It has the trains and the boats, so you got to kind of do two things.
Yeah, that was a little complicated for me, but I'll play it. I don't mind it. So Ticket to Ride, Days of Wonder.
Yeah, Days of Wonder, and when we say Days of Wonder, it really is Ticket to Ride. We also have Small World. Small World and Ticket to Ride were two of our first 3 or 4 games that got us into the modern gaming hobby. We haven't played Small World for quite some time. I think I'm actually going to take it into my board game club for a special shelf of games we don't play here very much that kids can play with me, but if I'm playing them. We were at her parents' house, and they've got this little shop in town that has games and toys and all stuff, and we go in there all the time, and we kind of started looking at games, and I think I had heard of Ticket to Ride maybe, or I picked it up, I'm like, this one looks interesting, and so we went back to the house, and I watched a playthrough of it. Probably the first ever playthrough I watched on YouTube, actually. Didn't even know you could watch playthroughs of games. And I was like, I think this is something we would both enjoy. And so I showed it to Stacey. She's like, oh yeah, that looks good. And her mom liked it so much that after we left, this was when we were still driving back to the Midwest instead of flying, her mom actually bought a copy for herself. So, yeah, really fun. We have almost all of them. So, really great set of games.
My dad even enjoyed it.
Yeah, your dad enjoyed it as well.
He does not play games at all.
Yeah, really good. I like it. It's a nice lighter game for me, but it's fun to play. They're all fun we own almost all of them. So, yeah, that was good. Days of Wonder. Nice, another good pick. That was an honorable mention on mine as well. Do you want to introduce the next one? Or do you want me
I can do it if you want me to. So the next set of games, or the next publisher, I guess you call them, I really enjoy because I think I've talked about this a lot, is that I love education and I love educational games. And so if I can play a game that teaches me something that isn't difficult to set up, that isn't difficult to explain, then I'm all about that. I first was introduced to this company by Trekking the National Parks, which just came out, I believe, with the new...
The third edition just came out. We just got that. I was able to, give my first edition to, or second edition, I think ours was, to a coworker. So we got introduced to this game in 2019. So this one's...
So Trekking the National Parks was our first game that we got introduced to. My favorite one by Underdog Games is Her Story. Educational company. I think they purposely educate you or try to educate you through all of their games that they put out. Again, probably not one that you just want to get out on a Tuesday night and play in 15 minutes, but if you have a little bit more time in the evening to get those games out, I really enjoy them. A lot of, back and forth time together, a lot of conversation. And then at the end, you can, for most of them, or actually during the game, you can read the cards, learn something about the national parks, learn something about the history of women. Fun. I think most people would probably enjoy it. I don't know.
Yeah,
Most people.
I mean, I enjoy them all. So in fact, this is the first one on my list as well. So my choice for underdog games, like they said, they're great games overall. They all do a little bit more. My choice, and this is my favorite one. I don't necessarily have but I think I do have one of my favorites from every one of these ones, not just random. Mine is Trekking Through History. I love the conveyor belt mechanic. I love the clock you're moving around with your turns on it. And I just love all the history things. I love that your fact that you're putting your events in history in order. I did a solo playthrough this. I think that's one of the reasons I really like this one, because I can play this one solo as well. Although the new edition of Trekking the National Parks and the new edition of Trekking the World that they just kickstarted recently both have solo modes as well. So I'm excited to try those solo. And maybe they'll come up with a solo mode for Her Story at some point. Who knows? But yeah, Underdog Games, great company. Their games really work for us. They're not too complex, but they still give me enough to think about. Sometimes overthink. A lot of times I overthink what I'm doing. A lot of times, that's just what I do,
which works out for me well.
Which works out for her well in a lot of games, and it's also. That's just kind of what I do sometimes. I overthink, but it's also why I like playing solo games, because I talk through a lot of stuff. So, Trekking Through History is my highlighted game for this. I highly suggest checking that one out.
What do you think? We were introduced to those in about 2019.
I think 2019. I had started tracking on. Actually, I went back and looked at what we bought Trekking the National Park, and it was around 2019. So that one was the next one on our list that was introduced to us. The fourth one on the list, which is my number 2, is currently one of my top games. If you follow the channel, I do a lot of content for one of their games, one of my favorite games from them, which is Rolling Realms. So that is Stonemaier Games. I was introduced to Stonemaier Games in early 2022 with Rolling Realms, actually. And surprisingly enough, Rolling Realms was not a hit for me at first. I played the solo mini golf, and it did not hit with me at all. So it's very... I kept it. I played it a while, played it a few more times. And then I started realizing, I don't have to play the mini golf thing. I can just play, or I can play against Jamie. And then it's become one of my most played games. But the game I'm going to highlight is currently my number 1 solo game, and very well could be my number 1 overall game. And that is Apiary. Apiary is a great worker placement game with a bumping mechanism with 6 different spots that you go to. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different spots you go to that almost feel like mini games in themselves. You might be doing resources, you might be laying tiles, all sorts of things. I really like Stonemaier Games. I like everything about Stonemaier Games. It's not just their games, it's the company itself. It's Jamie. He's so approachable. He's donated to my board game club. He does his weekly live streams. I have to say, I love the ethics of the company as well. It aligns with me and things I believe. Apiary currently my number 1 Stonemaier game. So that's the one I wanted to kind of bring to the table today. So that was Stonemaier Games. That was the 4th company that was introduced to us back in January of 2022. And you're going to see here really quickly that 2022 was the year we really ramped up into modern board gaming, because the next 2 companies, it's 2 companies. This one was a tough one to decide. Were introduced to me in the beginning and the end of February of 2022. The first one with the game Tiny Towns was AEG. And the one I'm going to highlight is currently my favorite AEG published game, and that is Let's Go to Japan, which we learned earlier this year. I love the drafting mechanic with this, where you take one, but then you give one to the other person, and then you pick those up at some point. And the decision space in this one and the solo mode in this is really easy to run. Like I said, we're not going to talk too much about the game itself. We've talked about this before, but I just love their games. I guess I had some numbers here. With Stonemeyer, I currently own 11, but I've played 12 due to my board game club. With AEG, we own 5, and I've played 5 of them, all 5 of them. I just really like their games. They aren't too complex overall from what I've played, and they're really well made, really good components. Really like all their games. So that was AEG, and let's go to Japan. Definitely check this one. It's a great game. And the next one, like I said, a little bit of a cheat here because they're associated with AEG, but they almost have their own line of games. And that is Flat Out Games, but they also publish them through AEG. We currently have, let's see my list here. We currently have 5 of them. I've played 3 of them. I'm really excited to get the last 2, Nocturne and Fit to Print to the table. Cascadia right now is my favorite Flat Out game, including the landmarks. And even if you just use the extra tiles from landmarks, really good. Once again, really well-made games, great components, pretty simple to get to the table, pretty easy to get to the table. A lot of tile laying. I love tile laying. And just, yeah, Flat Out Games really works with me with AEG. So last 2 kind of a little bit of a cheat there because AEG. And with AEG, like I said, I own 5 that are just AEG. We own 5 that are Flat Out AEG. So those are the next 2. Those were introduced to us in the beginning of February and end of February of 2022. And I know you've played 2 of the Flat Out games, Calico and Cascadia.
Yes, I have.
And I think
I
you
like both of those.
Yeah. So I'm going to introduce her to the other ones. It's the cats and the animals and
cats
stuff.
Cats and the animals.
Animals.
Get me every time.
Tile laying. All right. So the next one was introduced to us in March of 2022. This was the first Kickstarter that we did. That I did. And it came across my Facebook feed. And it's the game I'm actually going to feature here. But all of their games are just so well made, and the components in them are amazing, and they're great people. I've chatted with Helena, I think it is, several times. I think that's how you pronounce her name. And that is KTBG, and the game that I'm talking about is Creature Comforts. These games we own, how many of them? We own 6 of them. We've played 6, but one of the ones we own, we haven't played because they were another company that donated to my board game club at school. So, they're a great company. We have one we have to play from our collection, and we've played one from my board game collection. So Creature Comforts, great worker placement, dice placement. I like the mechanism where you place your workers after you're placing your family dice, and then you're still rolling other dice, so you may not use all your workers. It's a great mechanism. Wonderful games. They're cozy games. They're games that we can get to the table together. And so this was my 5th company on the list, KTBG. Like I said, great games. We can get them to the table together. We both enjoy them. And it's a company that has helped introduce Stacey to some different mechanisms, like worker placement. I think this was one of our first worker placement games. And so,
as far as I know.
So, yeah, so that is my 5th one on the list.
And mine was, I don't know what number I'm on.
4th.
Number 4? I think I'm on number 4.
Is also.
Goes along with KTBG, which stands for Kids
Table Board Gaming.
But they're not just for kids. They're for adults as well. This one's actually created by kids and a family, so bonus there. Again, like what Ian was saying, great mechanisms in the games that I've played. Very well made, easy to get to the table for the most part on all of them. And it's all about making memories. And so we got some great memories of playing both of these games of who's winning and who's losing. And I always have to bring that up. But yeah.
You're bringing that up with that game?
I don't win at this game. But I love playing this game, which is really odd because I'm extremely competitive.
This is.
That's my game.
She won this one this month for the first time, I think.
Yes.
On her birthday.
Yes.
I think it was. So
It
yeah.
was.
So maybe it's a turning point.
But yeah, so KTBG games, I really enjoy these. And, it's colorful, it's fun, and all of them are, so well drawn.
The
And the
artwork
artwork
is
is really great. So that's another thing that I enjoy with these games. But family fun, kid friendly, as the name of the company suggests, and I highly suggest them for everyone.
Yep. So that was my 5th game company and Stacy's 4th. My 6th one, like I said, 2022 was a big year for new companies. Was introduced to us in April of 2022, which is another company that you've seen me cover cartographers on by Thunderworks Games. But one of my other favorite games by Thunderworks that is not in the world of Ulos is actually 10 Penny Parks. Another great company. I've been in contact with Keith over numerous things in recent times. He also donated to my board game club at school, which is another, probably another reason I like it. But I loved this company to begin with, which is why I asked if they had anything to donate. Got some things from them recently to cover on the channel. Did an unboxing recently of a few new things that I'm excited to teach at some point or learn at some point and cover. But 10 Penny Parks, not in the world of Ulos, which I don't think these games get as much coverage because the world of Ulos is so big with role player and cartographers and all that stuff. But 10 Penny Parks is a great polyomino game. The solo play in this is wonderful, where you're playing and you're trying to figure out where you go so that the opponent does not get what they need. The one unique thing about this that is different than any other polyomino game I have is in this, when you lay your tiles, they can't touch each other. So it makes it really interesting. So you have to expand your board. So like I said, Thunderworks Games, another great company that has wonderful production value. All of their games I have are just amazing. The artwork in them is good. The game playing is really good. The company itself is really, really good. And they're a Wisconsin company. I'm a Wisconsin boy, but Thunderworks, 10 Penny Parks. And that moves on to yet another month in 2022. May of 2022, I was introduced to this company through this game. And I think I maybe had bought it a little earlier, but I played it first in this. Very early into my solo gaming. It was a lot of roll and writes. This is still one of my favorite games. It's dropped a little bit on my list since I've gotten introduced to some more solo games with some more things than just roll and writes. But that is Dinosaur Island Roar and Write by Pandasaurus Games. And once again, it comes down to quality and just ease to get to the table for us. We don't necessarily have a lot of time. In the summers I do, in my breaks I do. But other than that, not a lot of time. This one's a quick one to get to the table. I love the dice in this game. And we have... I guess I didn't say for Thunderworks. We own 10. I've played 8 of them. I got a couple I still have to play. For Pandasaurus, we own 4, but I've played 6 because I've played 2 on BGA, which I am kind of taking into account games I've played on BGA. One of the recent ones, Faraway, is one of my top favorite games to play on BGA. But I just love all their games that we play. Introduced Stacey to Beacon Patrol recently, and I know that was a big hit from you. Yes, this is Pandasaurus. So,
okay.
Yep, and we actually have the Beacon Patrol expansion coming very soon. We got shipping notification for it. I think it might actually be here tomorrow. So, yeah, we're really excited about that. Pandasaurus, good quality games, fun games to get to the table. Most of the ones we have are pretty light, so they're pretty quick and easy to get to the table. So it's a company that the games have really hit for me overall. So that's Pandasaurus Games. And then the next one, now we're jumping way ahead. We're jumping to July of 2023. We're skipping over a year here. Obviously, I played a lot of games from the same companies or something, or I just didn't have many games from those companies that I played. So July of 2023, July 1st, the day after my birthday, we went to a board game cafe up in Denver, Colorado, and we're introduced to this game. And I think before we even left, or on the way back to her sister's house, I had ordered this game on Amazon because we both really, really liked it. And that is Game Right. And Trash Pandas is the one that I'm talking about. Trash Pandas, really quick, fun, silly card game with a dice, with the kind of a push your luck dice rolling aspect, which, I mean, I think this was probably the first push your luck game we played, because you're rolling dice and you want to keep going more, and you just, push your luck, which we kind of like now. A lot of push your luck games. For Game Right, we own 2 of them, but I've played 6 because we've got several at my board game club at school, and I think maybe I played one on BGA. I'm not sure. Actually, I think I just got a new one in for my board game club at school that is Game Right as well. These ones that I've played are a little smaller, simpler games, but they're really fun. They're really quick and easy to get to the table. So I just really like that kind of for a filler game. This is one, if we want something quick at night, we can get this out. We can get some other things out that we have. Trying to think, what is the other Game Right game that we own? We own another one, and off the top of my head, I cannot think of what it is. But we also have access to like a bunch of others through my board game club. So that is Game Right Games. Most of the games we have from them are quick, small, fun, filler type games that are really easy to get to the table. So that's why this one made my list. We really just enjoy those. And then the next one later in July of 2023 was, I had heard of this company for quite a while after I got into solo board gaming, and I finally dove in, got a couple of them. And the first one that I played was Sprawlopolis, but currently my favorite, and I've talked about this on many lists, is Rove. Can't wait for Aqua Rove, can't wait for the expansions to this. 18 cards. That's it. That's what these are. Pretty sure there's 18 in this. In this one, you're moving your module around to different places. I love that in this small little envelope, or, little envelope here, you have quite a bit of game. So I currently own 8 of them. I've played all 8 of them. I really enjoy all of them. I got a couple more coming. They don't take up much space. They're easy to travel with, which is another reason I really like these ones, because we can just take these with. If I want to take them into school for my break time, I can take it into school. They play really quick as well. So button shy games, wallet size. That's what they call them, wallets. So not envelopes. So like I said, does not take space at all. They're small. They're quick. It is amazing how much you can get into just a few cards. So that is Button Shy. Rove is currently my number 1 game on there and one of my top solo games. And that was my number 9. Ooh. And Stacey's done 4, which means we are down
1.
To
or my 5th.
Your 5th one.
Your
the 5th one that you were introduced to. These ones are not ranked.
Yes.
These are not ranked.
So I was introduced to this August of 23. And I really like this company. I don't know how many I've played. I don't know. I'm sure
3.
Ian's got some kind of
3. We
he keeps track.
Well, I went and found out just for this video.
Okay.
Exactly.
All
so
right.
we've played 3 of them.
Played 3. And I really like it. They're easy to play. The whole family can play. It's for, I believe, any age group, as long as you can hold the cards. Let me see, 8 years old and up, so just right up my alley. So if you can hold the cards, they're all card games that I've played so far. I don't know.
That's what they all are. They're all card games. They're all card games.
And that is Grandpa Beck's. And my favorite one from Grandpa Beck is Skull King. It's kind of like, I don't know. What's that game you play?
Euchre.
It's
a trick-taking game.
Thank you, because I don't know. Trick-taking game. You try and name how many tricks you're going to take, and then you take it. And then there's other ones where you try to collect certain aspects from different cards, and then the other one, you play a round of golf, and good game. Started by a family for families, so that you can have memories around the table. And so I like that aspect of it. Grandpa Beck, he's rocking it with all of his games. So that is my
your 5th
most
one,
current
most
company
recent.
that I have enjoyed. the most.
Yep, the most recent
So,
one you've been introduced to.
I have not disliked the game yet, and I have the new Toil and Troubles. I don't know if that's new or not, but
That is their latest one, Toil and
okay.
Troubles.
We've got that one that I have yet to play,
And
so
then
we're gonna
Bear
try
and
and
the
get that
Bees.
one. Oh yeah, we got the Bear and the Bees as well. So I'm gonna try and get those to the table this weekend, so I can give a non-gamer gamers view of those two games as well.
Yep.
So Grandpa Beck.
This one's still in shrink because we
Oh,
were
yeah.
introduced to them through my board game club. They are another company that donated to my board game club last year when I started up at school. So we've been using that copy to play quite often. And a couple weekends ago, we were like, you know what? Let's buy some for our own. And so this is the older version. It doesn't have one of the newest cards in it. I
The
think
mermaid
the
card?
whale. I think it's the whale. I think it doesn't have the white whale. It has the mermaids, I think.
Mermaid.
What is it? It says on the front. This one has mermaids, loot, and the kraken. I think there's a white whale in the latest version. We just played the base game of it. We're like, you know what? We should really have this game in our collection. And then we decided to get a couple other ones. So we got Bears and Bees and Toil and Troubles for our collection. This happens to also be the final one on my list. Like she said, last August when we got donations for my board game club, we had to start learning a lot of games that we had not played so that when I did start my board game club up after volleyball season, I could teach them. And Skull King, I think, would also be my number one, but I'm going to...
Oh, you can borrow it.
Well, no, I'm gonna highlight a different one here
Okay.
just so we can highlight a couple of different ones. So I'm gonna do Gnoming Around. Stacey hinted at it, playing a round of golf. I really like this game in the fact that you're really playing with 9 cards in front of you. You have them laid down in a 3x3 grid, and then you flip 2 over to start, and then you're just trying to get the lowest score, and it does not always work out. You can get low scores by getting negatives or by getting a row or a column of all of the same positive number. Problem is, as soon as your opponent, first person that goes out, you have one chance left. And if you see they're going out soon, they can, and you're trying to get like a big row of big numbers, you got to start getting rid of those quick if you don't see a big number out there. So Gnoming Around, really fun. And I like the mechanic where you can bounce, where if you flip a card, if you flip over a face down card that is the same as one you just placed or in your grid, you can bounce them around. So it can get you several cards in a row flipped at the same time and really put the opponent kind of in a bind like, oh, I really got to start moving here, because if you end the game in this one and you have any face down cards, those automatically just flip over. And if you've got a lot of high cards, you are going to be adding lots of points. So Skull King, Gnoming Around, like Stacey said, game for families again. They play test these with their families. All of their videos have I believe it's their family in it, I'm guessing. Really great company. Once again, they donated to my board game company, which is one of the reasons we really enjoy them, but we just really enjoy their games, and they're good for us to play together. They're really fun. They're quick. We learned another one a couple weeks ago for my board game club that we really enjoyed.
I think the best thing that I like about the Grandpa Beck's games is that even though they're all card games, they're all completely different from each other.
Yeah.
It's not just a different theme of the same card game. They're all different playing. And so with each one you buy, you do have to read the instructions or the directions, not
instruction book.
Because each one does play differently. Each one's completely different on what you're supposed to do, what the theme is of the game. It's not just repeating a different theme for the most part. So they support us, we support them. That's what we try to do. So Grandpa Beck's, I hope you check them out.
Yep. And Skull King, great trick-taking game with a unique aspect where you have to bid how many tricks you think you're going to take every round, 10 rounds. Every round you get one more card, one more trick out there. So it gets, no pun intended, it gets pretty tricky. Like, how many do I think I'm going to get? I got pretty lucky a couple weeks ago on the 5th and 6th round where I actually guessed exactly how many I was going to get, or the 7th and 8th round, and I got them exactly. So there you go. There are our top 5 and 10 publishers that we really enjoy a lot of games from them. There are many other publishers that we enjoy games, but we've only played a couple from them. So this was really ones that we felt really strongly about that these ones really were near the top because we do have played a lot of their games. So, or at least 3 or more for me, and Stacey's were just ones as a non-gamer gamer that just
They resonated with me.
yeah. So there you go. There's our 5 and dime for our top publishers. If you like this video, please hit that like button and subscribe. And if you have any comments, what publishers are ones that really hit for you? What do you think of these publishers? Do you have any questions on which games you might want from these publishers? Once again, this has been Where There's Wills.
There's a play.
My name's Ian.
I'm Stacey.
And we'll see you next time
At the table.